The four guardians of an immortal heart. Easily safeguard your heart and worry about dying from something other than the number one grim reaper, heart disease. It's easy, if you're willing to do it. The methods I'm proposing are straightforward and the science completely sound. So many are led these days to believe that a pill or procedure will mitigate a lifetime of neglect. Well, you can roll those dice, or you can make your cardiovascular system virtually bulletproof, lasting you well into your 8th or 9th decade. First, and this extends far past the heart is a unique organ with the second highest concentration of mitochondria, second only to the brain. The starting point for all pathogens that's found these days is at the cellular level. Therefore, the energy and effort you put into strengthening and bulletproofing your body starts here. It consumes fat or carbohydrates. The challenge is that modern diets flood the bloodstream with carbohydrates, and over time this monotonous diet weakens the mitochondria, which must remain flexible. And that means easily switching between glucose, which is what carbohydrates break down to, or triglycerides, that's fat. Glucose is easy to process, and fat, which is a complex chain of carbohydrates, a bit tougher. Non-stop glucose prevents any need for the mitochondria to do the extra work of breaking down triglycerides. And with that, the flexibility steadily diminishes over time. There are two ways to get your mitochondria in shape. First, stop eating for 18 hours or more once a week. This request I find tantamount to asking people to traverse burning coals. Once the glucose is gone, fat becomes much more attractive to the mitochondria. This switching is a necessary part of its health. You see, we are not built, never intended to receive continuous calories. Regular fasts are part of the deal, and they do tremendous good for us. And they're free. In addition to the mitochondrial exercise, that break gives your digestive tract a greatly appreciated rest, liberating energy needed to perform regular maintenance that's too often deferred. Similarly, a particular form of aerobic exercise is absolutely the most efficient and effective for a 1-hour session. It's known as steady state or zone 2 training. It does not require nearly the effort you may be expecting. Our heart's ejection fraction diminishes with age, along with everything else. But the exercise required to build that precious muscle is done at a rate so low you can actually continue a conversation from start to finish. In fact, your ability to talk is one measure of the proper level of exertion. The zone is age dependent, and the formula is 220 minus your age times 0.8, or 80%. To do it, you warm up for 5 or 7 minutes from your resting to your training heart rate, meaning you're going to hit that 80% level at the end of 7 minutes, so get busy. And then hold that heart rate for the remainder of the hour. It's a 1-hour session start to finish, so if you're going to get warmed up in 5 minutes, you're going to carry that steady state heart rate for 55 minutes. That's it. Simple, right? At 80% of your age-adjusted max, your cells are respirating at or near 100% of their mitochondrial efficiency. That means that the ATP or adenosine triphosphate is being produced at a level that the cell can process the lactate efficiently. The lactate therefore does not build up to diminish the respiratory efficiency of the cell. You burn through the glycogen, which is glucose stored in your muscles, as well as the glucose circulating in your bloodstream, and guess what's left for dinner? Fat. It's not a binary switch, but rather one where the fat consumption gets more serious the longer you keep your heart rate pegged. This isn't intended for fat reduction, but you are going to burn some fat. You can have a conversation throughout the entire session, but you'll need to breathe during the sentence and not wait for the period. Fat burning is a byproduct of zone 2. Its primary benefit is stressing your heart at a perfect level for a protracted duration well below its maximum, just like the elite riders of the Tour de France do, to strengthen their cardiovascular system. This is what the pros do. Okay, penultimately, the easiest bulletproofing method is fun for many. Extended time in a properly heated sauna is proven through studies to reduce your risk of all bad things cardiovascular by up to 50% in exchange for about 80 minutes in the box. And I mean everything. Myocardial infarction, stroke, embolism. For me, that relates to 40 minutes twice a week. But let's just say that you pare it back down to 60 minutes a week, 2 times 30. That's still proven a 33% decrease in all bad things cardiovascular. The demand on your system to adapt means your heart is dissipating the heat by increasing your artery's diameter to circulate the blood through your extremities. Howsoever deep this reflex extends in your vasculature, it's flexing it. And that does two things. One, it potentially breaks any small accumulation of cholesterol to prevent occlusion or narrowing, otherwise known as arteriosclerosis. In fact, it does three things now that I think about it. Cancer is fragile as it travels through the bloodstream in its attempt to metastasize. Speeding it up and heating it up in the sauna through your bloodstream may be just enough to end its diabolical transit. Okay, finally, the measured but strong stress of heat produces molecules not otherwise released in normal activity. These are called shock proteins. These proteins stabilize and refold other damaged proteins for cellular protection and recovery. And the absence of shock proteins is linked to many pathologies. A little added hint, plan a sauna after your cardio if it's convenient, but not after resistance for best efficiency of muscle growth. Finally, the one that you've been waiting for, drumroll please, the max heart rate session. Yes, they're tough, but they pay big dividends if you want to keep your heart in its maximum capacity. Just like it sounds, this is a session of steadily raising your heart rate to its maximum. Maximum means not one more beat per minute is available. It is something everyone without a pre-existing condition can do, but that very few of us do. Let me describe the fun. In about a 25 to 30 minute session, you raise your heart rate to ever higher plateaus en route to its maximum. Again, your theoretical max heart rate is age-defined at 220 minus your age. We'll use that number. However, that number is not hard and fast, because if you do this regularly, you may have slowed the aging of that unique mitochondrial organ to go well past the theoretical number. This is prescribed as once a week, but once a month will move the needle forward. In combination, these four guardians will let you forget about clutching your chest as long as you keep your body in otherwise good working condition. And that means regular strength training and a better than average diet that keeps you at 15 to 20% body fat, even after the holidays. Like many preventative measures, they are simple but seemingly insurmountable for most without a coach who adds accountability to the equation. That's my gig, and my guidance is the best investment most will ever make in their lives. Have it all.